Frank Ranks, week number 19. Can you believe it? We have Marvel, we have DC, and we have 12 books, including indies. Who's going to be on top? Let's talk about them right now. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you so much for spending time with me as we rant about movies, comic books, and television shows, as well as the occasional board game. I'm your host, Frank Zanca. I'm an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer, as well as a filmmaker. And yeah, I just got back from Dallas Fan Expo. I got to see a whole bunch of people out there. I mostly went because Wes was coming in from the Philippines. He is the lead of Thinking Critical. I got to see all the other guys out there, including Drew came. If you're a watcher of his channel, Aaron Sparrow is there. I got to see Sully. Who else? Josh was there. Max was there. It's just a pile of them. Comics by Perch was there. Gary Nerdrotic showed up. Just a pile of people, and I got to see a couple of film YouTubers as well, including Sean Chandler, Snarky J, stuff like that. And then I got a couple of things signed here, including I got a signed Christina Ricci, Jennifer Beals. I also have Michael Rosebaum, but he's in the middle here. James Marsters from Buffy. And then Patricia Velasquez from The Mummy. She was really nice. We had a nice little conversation as well. So she was like, we were talking about, stuff in Hollywood being dead. And actually in California. And she's like, yeah, look at around. Look at all the actors that are here. That'll tell you that nobody's working. And that's pretty true. All right, so before we get started, remember to give me that like, give me that thumbs up if you can. Also remember, too, that I'm on Amazon if you want to check out my books on Amazon, including Destiny Aurora, my 4-novel sci-fi series, and then my fantasy novel, Tales of Ravenor the Iron Witch. And then we are doing a new Kickstarter campaign that's up in pre-launch right now called Fairy Tales of Terror with Cinderella and Daga and Captain Hook and Tiger Lily. You can check that out. Just click the QR code there, or there's also a link in the description below. All right, so let's jump into these 12 books. We got a bunch. So we're going to start out with an independent. It's pretty rare normally. I start with a Marvel or a DC book on the end. But this time I have 3 books that are independent that are on the bottom. We're going to start out with a image book called Dark Honor. The artwork in here is generally good, but the writing on it is extremely poor. It is about the 100, so it's like a mob group that's called 100. And another family or another dude is coming in here and he's collecting people, basically building an army. And it takes place during COVID. I don't know why, but it is. And they reference COVID over and over again for no reason really whatsoever. It has no bearing on the story at all. But so we have all these assassinations going on inside the mob, with this one guy kind of taking the lead on that. And then this guy named Grigor had a student, and we get to see her in prison, and she just gets let out for whatever reason. Doesn't even say her time is up. She basically kicked somebody's ass, but is let out. I don't know. I'm very confused about that. I wouldn't know what. I don't understand. But anyway, she goes home, and then she has an assassin on her tail. I don't know. It's a skip for sure. But again, the artwork is good, but the storyline and the writing is pretty bad. All right, the next one is a one-shot, again, independent book called Mommy Blog. So the Mommy Blog, I think it's like 30-something pages long. And it's almost like a Dexter, kind of. So you have a pretty insane woman that's kind of like Simple Favor type of thing, where she has her own blog, but she wants to be very popular. She wants to be the hero, or at least have her husband be the hero. But her husband beats her and stuff like that. So I don't know. She doesn't. He's kind of kinky, and she doesn't like some of the stuff he's into. And so we all see all these inner monologues. But the coach it does all this PC stuff, all this stuff that's in the news at this point, where we have non-binary, all the men are bad people, stuff like that. There was one female bully that gets it, but anyway, of course the coach is a bad guy. He's a rapist or whatever. And then the dentist so she's setting these people up, and then she kidnaps them, and then she chops them up. So that's why I said it's kind of like Dexter. And she's also kidnapping children, and then she's the one that finds them, and the kid is like, "Yeah, but you're a lady. You're the one that put us there." And she's like, "Oh no, you are mistaken." Yeah. I wasn't very enthralled with the book. It was okay, but it did lost me. It lost me like not even halfway through. I did read the whole thing, but it was I was like, I can't believe I'm reading this. All right, so that was Mommy Blog at number 11. All right, so number 10, Hornsby and Halo. So once again, it's about these two kids that are from hell and heaven, essentially. One's an angel, one's a demon, but one is given to a parents that like are bad. The angel was given to like criminal parents, and the other one was given to like Catholic whatever church going. So the demon ghost is being reared by them. And here we see the girl. The girl is the one mostly in this. It's about her doing all these nice things, but by the end she tells some guy to fuck off or whatever that needed help. I didn't really understand the point of it, and it really is kind of just spinning its wheels. It's not really going anywhere, so it needs to have the rubber hit the road here eventually. But it's kind of a skip. All those three are basically skips. All right. Going on to number 9. Yes, number 9. I don't want to mess it up like I did last time. Because we just did 3, it was 12, so 9. Okay. So I was actually pretty surprised by this, but Mark Guggenheim normally writes better than this, and this series is a pretty good Star Wars series. But he like dialed this one in, man. It was like, how fast can I write an issue and get it over with? And it's all splash pages. There's very little dialogue. There's very little story. It's just like, I'm just going to write a series of splash pages, take my check and go because I'm busy doing something else. That's how this felt. So I hope it picks back up again in issue 4. But it's about them trying to save Bail Organa or something to that effect. They're on this planet, and Obi-Wan gets hurt, and they're fighting these kaijus. Whatever. If you skip this issue, you're not going to be missing anything. Because I really want us to get back into Qui-Gon and the assassin going after him, even though you know that Qui-Gon can't get killed. So I don't know why they chose Qui-Gon as the target of this, but I guess we'll find out. All right, the next one, which is number 8. Again, I hope I got this right by the end. All right, so number 8, Magic by Marvel. That's my second Marvel book, because Star Wars is also Marvel. And I think this is the best issue yet, because it actually, last issue I liked it because Danny was in there, but this is more about Magic's internal struggle with Darkchild. And she's upset with Cal and Danny because they were talking behind her back about Darkchild and not trusting Magic to be able to control Darkchild. And they're like, oh, I'm sorry you heard that. But meanwhile, Danny's like, yeah, I'm not really sorry because I don't trust Darkchild. And she's like, well, she has this inner monologue with Darkchild where they finally start to meld. And she's like, I'm here to protect you. I don't know why you're constantly always fighting me. So anyway, I kind of like that. And the fact that they are now kind of moving together and kind of agreeing to work with one another, where it's not just Darkchild, just an evil thing. So I was kind of happy with that, but it's got to wrap up. I mean, we're on what, issue 5 now, so this has got to wrap up next issue. If they start, drawing it out, it's going to feel that way. The story is not that great to begin with the seals and all that stuff. It's kind of bullshit, but that's why I like the character side more than I like the story. I forgot that I had this in my hand. When I have them in my hand, that means that I read them digitally. And the next one is Last Boy. Everybody should know by now I have not been a fan of Dan Panosian's Peter Pan. And this is no exception. I do not like how he is writing Peter Pan. He's kind of missed the point with him. I mean, the guy ended up killing Captain Hook, who did nothing wrong at this point. He's already an old man. He kicked him off he had to walk the plank and got eaten by the alligator. Meanwhile, he had made a deal with the natives, that's now run by Tiger Lily. And he's like, nah, he's not really dead. It's one of his ploys. You killed an old man for no reason, man. It's so bad. So bad. So he ends up fighting the Shadow King, and the guy slices him. And he's like, oh my god, I'm bleeding. So the fairies get him out of there. And then he's like, oh, why'd you get him out of there? Because I had him. Okay. So he goes to Tiger Lily and asks her to help him fight the Shadow King. Because he's burning down stuff that's in the fairyland side or something like that. But where this book really shines is with Wendy. He's getting Wendy right. And it's in like a sepia tone type of side, so that's how you could tell the difference. She is trying to be a novelist, and I guess she has some kind of an agreement with a publisher or something like that where she's got to finish this book. But meanwhile, her mother is pushing her to get married, and she's got, a very tweaker kind of fiance or whatever. I don't think she's very happy with him. But anyway, she's teaching kids, and she has boats, these toy boats, and she gets into the water, of course, just as the suitor arrives, and her mother is flabbergasted by the whole thing. But so that's I like all that side, but then somehow it's like melding, because I think Peter Pan was able to see the girl or something like that had the boat. I don't know. I was confused by the ending. But anyway, he talks Tiger Lily into fighting the Shadow King with him, and she's like, "You're sending us to our death, but we're gonna go anyway." But anyway, that's where it basically ends. I'm not. He's kind of scared, and he's kind of holding back. And the bird says to him, "You got to go in there. They need you." And he's like, "Of course they do." I don't know. It's very awkward the way he's writing him. It's just awkward. All right, next one up is a Kickstarter book that I have been reading for a while, and it is number 7 of The Haunting by Phil DeFalco. And I like the idea of this book quite a bit. So it's about a guy that he can see ghosts, so they gravitate towards him. So it's kind of like Sixth Sense, except that these ghosts can kill people. And he feels cursed, of course. And so he's always got death all around him. And he has a girl that's been helping him, her sister was hunting him. And so that's what you see on the cover there is the sister in prison. Anyway, her girlfriend also died. think her name is Claire or something like that, and that's how she breaks her arm. Is from the ghost or whatever, and but anyway, the other girl is trying to help him control him, and he's kind of a dick through this whole beginning. He's kind of a dicky emo character anyway, but he's more of a dick in this one, which is why this one's not a little higher on the list, because this thing's just a whole bunch of talking all the way through, because then she goes and sees the sister in jail, and there's a whole lot of talking, and I think you can limit conversations to like 3 pages. If you do any more than that, it kind of drags. But anyway, so I guess there's ghosts coming into the prison now, and he runs into the prison, and that's where it kind of ends. But overall, I really like the idea of this one. This wasn't a very strong issue, but there has been far stronger ones. But overall, I've been liking this series. All right, moving on to 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like number 5. Number 5 is alive. All right, and that is Hyde Street. So I'm not really I know a lot of people are really big fans of Hyde Street, and they really like the idea behind it, where it's a little bit of a Twilight Zone. But I'm not really sold on the idea of this other dimensional world where people get souls. I don't know. I'm not really feeling it. But I can tell you the artwork is bar none. It's great. So a lot of this Ghost Machine stuff really has some good artwork. Halo and Hornsby, and the Rockefellers, but yeah. So this one here again is a Twilight Zone type of thing, where it's telling a story pretty much individually about all these little things that are happening, and these characters that are trying to collect souls to get out of this limbo. And one of them is Miss Goodbody, so she's like a workout girl, and she sells off these pills that I guess kill people or whatever. And then you have this, I think his name is Freaky, whatever is Spanky. Spanky? No. Whatever it is, it's called, something like that. Anyway, he's like a Boy Scout, but he's like completely evil, and he has enough souls to leave the thing, almost twice over, and never leaves. And so now he's making sure that nobody goes near her shop. She only needs 1 or 2 more souls or whatever else, and she can't leave this. She's afraid to leave the store, and so Pranky, that's his name. And then you have Professor X-Ray or Dr. X-Ray or whatever the other guy's name is. And this is more about his story in this one. And so we have that little starting off with the conflict between the two of them. And then it becomes Dr. X-Ray's thing, or Professor X-Ray, where a bus comes through with all these people, and then he basically kills them all. So he like racks up a bunch of points like right off the bat. But anyway, it's okay. I'm not a big fan of the storyline. All right, we're down to the final 4, and believe it or not, there's no independents here. Just letting you know ahead of time. So is it going to be Marvel or is it going to be DC at number 1? But I do have DC and Marvel in the final 4. All right, so number 4 is Absolute Wonder Woman. So they brought Dr. Poison into this, which I like. Of course, I liked her from the movie, but she's in this big, heavy suit in this one. And Diana creates almost like her own Fortress of Solitude. What the big disappointment with this is that they brought Hayden Sherman back. I hate his artwork. I hate it, especially after we just saw amazing artwork with this thing, and then they bring this guy back. I hope they listen to the fans and get him off this, because he does not help this book at all. But anyway, she creates her own Fortress of Solitude with this big, heavy, I guess you call it a temple. I guess, yeah, she creates this temple, gets out of the ground, and the girl who becomes Cheetah's there with her, and the Kale gives Doctor Poison some kind of a thumb drive for a weapon that she wants her to help create or whatever. But anyway, I guess she breaks out, which we don't ever get to see because all of these like little robotic spiders end up coming, and she's fighting these robotic spiders, meaning Wonder Woman is, and eventually she confronts Dr. Poison, and Dr. Poison says, I can help you find an Amazon. And that's where it ends. So not really a strong issue here at all. Again, disappointing that Sherman's back. And again, I hope they get rid of him quickly and listen to the fans and say, or the readers and say, yeah, this is not working. But overall, I like the general story of Absolute Wonder Woman. It's definitely better than the Tom King, even though the artwork on Tom King's book is great. That's why I stuck with that as long as I did. So let's hope we get him off here. Maybe when Tom King leaves, maybe we can finally get a writer that can write regular Wonder Woman title. That would be great. All right, number 3 is another DC book written by my buddy Jeremy Adams. So here we get where we have Kyle and Superboy and Odyssey all on the ship, and they have a little space adventure. Meanwhile, Hal is in hell with this other Green Lantern that I guess has been lost for years in hell. Why is Green Lantern able to go to hell? I have no idea. I mean, since when has he been a supernatural character? No idea. But anyway, they're there to see a prisoner because they need to get some kind of a gem or whatever else off of him that he's carrying as like some kind of an amulet carrying around his neck. So they get that, and meanwhile he has a fight with the Spectre, which I thought was pretty cool. He's in like construct armor fighting him, and because the Spectre wants him to come back and join with him, and he's like, hell no, fuck that. I'm out. He's like, well then who? He's like, I don't know, you figure it out. And they leave, but the Spectre then sees the guy that's chained up, and I guess we get another emotional spectrum segment called Disgust. Come on, Jeremy, man. You gotta stop. We have Sorrow. He's like reaching the bottom of the barrel here. Why do we have to have 10 million? What colors are these things going to be? You know, brown? I don't know. The brown lantern? I don't know. I wish he'd stop this thing and we just make the emotional spectrum go back because of the way it was. Because this is trying to find new emotional spectrums is just not working. The Sorrow thing doesn't work, and Disgust is not going to work. So, anyway, overall, it's a good book, but I do have my my notes on that. All right, number 2. We're down to 2. And so the next one is actually a Marvel book. A Marvel, other than Moon Knight, I never have a Marvel book this high up. But it is Predator versus Spider-Man. I'm actually really liking this, and I'm not a huge Spider-Man fan at all, especially the way it's written now. I tried to get Amazing Spider-Man, it was a piece of dirt. But I am collecting this one now. I do have questions, though. Like, Predator doesn't just kill regular people. Never. He never just killed... He always killed warriors, right? Because that's his whole thing, is that he's testing himself against other warriors, right? So, in the beginning here, he's like killing workers, which is not him. Like, even in Predator 2, where he hung all the bodies up, those were all drug dealers and stuff like that. They all had weapons. These guys don't even have weapons, and he's killing them. And he's kind of wearing their face. And I can see him doing that if he's looking to draw people out. Like, if he's looking to draw Kraven out, if he's looking to bring Spider-Man out, so that he's bringing the warriors out and giving them incentive. I can see that, but they're not telling us that. All they're doing, he's just being a serial killer at this point, just killing, unarmed people, which again is not the Predator. So that's my negative here. Meanwhile, Mary Jane is in the sewers trying to save somebody else, and she finds this whole, lair of theirs underneath. They have this invisible thing that they're on, this invisible ship that they're kind of going around the city with. Meanwhile, Craven is finding the bodies and he's examining them, which is great. I love the way that they're using Craven. Meanwhile, the cop goes to see Peter and says, "Peter, you better." He doesn't know he's Spider-Man. He opens the door halfway thinking it's Mary Jane, and he's in his costume from like the neck down. He's like, "Oh shit." And he closes the door back. And she's like, "I know you're in there." Of course you know I'm in there. And he's like, "I didn't do it. I just, I took pictures, but I didn't do the murderers." And then she ends up fighting with Craven, and he whoops her ass. Overall, pretty good. I'm liking this. All right, number 1. What's it gonna be? Marvel, DC. It's DC with Superman by Joshua Williamson. I think everybody agrees it's a really good series. And so this continues off with Lex blowing the head off XL, which I really hated that name. And, I guess he's turning back evil or whatever else. But Mercy is getting ousted, I guess, from Supercorp. And she's like, you really can't, because Lex Luthor still runs the Supercorp. I know that we also have the daughter, Lena, she's not happy with Lex at all. He's got what you see on the cover there. He's got red kryptonite in him that's kind of making him explode. Meanwhile, you have Lois that no longer has her powers, thank God, and is trying to deal with the fact that she's going to be normal again. I like that, but also we get to see a quick interlude of Zod coming. So hopefully that storyline is going to end this. End the Superwoman storyline. It needs to end. So I'm glad that Zod is coming to get his powers now, but of course she doesn't have any powers at all. I don't know what she's getting. So of course she'd have to get the powers back for him to be able to take them back. But we'll see what happens. Meanwhile, Luthor is going back to farm and stuff like that, who were the villains from the previous storyline. So anyway, really good stuff. The artwork in here is phenomenal. I really like the characterization of everything going on. This is one of the best Superman runs that they've been in many years. Probably back since Jurgen, as far as I'm concerned. All right, thanks again for watching. That's it for me. That would be number 1. So let's see what happens again next week. Thanks for watching all the way through. It's only been almost 30 minutes now. Ouch, we got a long one. All right, and remember to give me that like, give me that thumbs up. Check out my books on Amazon, but also definitely support us on Kickstarter with Fairy Tales of Terror. The artwork is phenomenal in there. It's going to be lots of fun. And you can go to the QR code, or the description below has a link, and just click notify me, and we'll get notified about when we launch probably in about 40 days or so. All right, thanks again, guys. I will see you guys on the next episode. All right.